Alright, Shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, before we begin, we like to give all praise, all glory, all honor unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Machak Wadash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. As always, we like to say Shalom unto the elect.
Shalom to the elect.
These two are your brothers here,
Mayasha Allah.
and Isaiah. Alright, coming back to you with another video. Alright. Title of this one gonna be Esau lived his blessing and is at the end of it, and we got next. Right? So the blessing we're speaking about is him being given control over the earth from the Lord Yahweh, right, through Isaac. Right? And if it's day wanted to start by
Genesis 27 here.
Go ahead.
I'll read from verse
34.
34.
Yeah. If you want to go straight to the point, go on.
You can read from higher up for the part 2 for Jacob blessing.
Go from 37.
Genesis 27 and 37. And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? So what Isaac detailing to Esau that he has blessed Isaac. And Esau said Jacob, Salakia. And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, The days of mourning for my father are at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob.
Right. So you understand here with this blessing that was given unto him. Right. Yeah, some you had to understand the blessings, right? Because it's for dominion over the earth, control over the earth. Esau Edom has that currently. But what you had to understand is he can't live his blessing when Jacob is blessed. And Jacob can't live his blessing when Esau is blessed, because it talks about when thou shalt have the dominion, thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. Ultimately, that go back to when, because we're talking about as things playing out in today's time. And this happened. This took place during the Byzantine Empire, not during the Byzantine Empire. After the Byzantine Empire, a 1,000-year period in Revelation, the 20th chapter, right? For 1,000 years, Satan was sealed away, right? As Satan, they metaphorically representing Esau Edom. And after that 1,000 years, right, due to things like the bubonic and bubonic plague and the black plague, right, things like that allowed Esau Edom to come back up into power, right?
Which is all the fulfillment of his blessing.
All the fulfillment of this blessing. Right?
That's how the word here, blessing, face on the Hebrew, Strong's 1293.
Slap. Yeah.
Baraka.
Listen.
Huh? I took it from verse 37, blessing. Salah, from verse 38, Salah, yeah, blessing. Baraka, one blessing, two source of blessing, three blessing, prosperity, four blessing, praise of power, five a gift, present, six treaty of peace. And going into the Strongs, cause to be blessed.
It says liberal, or you click it.
Yeah.
Or when you go to the Strong's definition, before you click it, it says benediction, by implication, prosperity, blessing, liberal, pool, present, right?
Esau has been given the present of the kingdom of the earth. Because what? And we know Esau living in this. Daniel 4 and 17 here. This matter is by the decree of the watchers and demand by the word of the holy ones to the intent that the living may know that the Most High rules in the kingdom of men and gives it to whomsoever he will and sets up over it the basis of men. This was read in the AKJV. We'll read this again. This matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men and giveth it to whomsoever he will and setteth it up over it the basis of men. So what? The Most High is in charge of this show. He's the one who determines who has the rulership, dominion, and power sitting in the earth. Going into that word kingdom in the Hebrews is Malakwa or Malakwath, royalty, reign, kingdom, royalty, kingship, kingly authority, realm of territory, reign of time. So what? Who has the reign of time, the realm of territory, the kingly authority, the kingship, the kingdom? Who has that? Who has been given that? When we know there's two nations who's been blessed with it, and we detailing right now that Esau is currently living in his blessing.
How we know that? Because we are at the end. Right? The scripture talk about prophecy proves Esau is in charge. I remember at some point last year when Nate was to break down who's Gomer in Ezekiel the 38th chapter. Can't remember who the conversation was with, but Nate was claiming that Japhet would come back up into power, or that Japhet in rulership today. But we had to understand that pursuant to 2nd Ezra 6th chapter and the 9th verse, pursuant to Isaiah 63 and 1, pursuant to the blessing, which rightfully I perfect to start this video off with the blessing, and pursuant to when Yahushua is to come back, is that either my power structure is who he going to meet. Isaiah 63 and 1 tell you that. He going straight to Idumea. Why would he go straight to Idumea if Japhet in charge?
Right, straight to Moshe, because what? The return of Yahushua is the end of all of this. Again, in 1 Corinthians 15. Then come the end. The end of what? The end of the rulership, because when you go to Daniel chapter 2, it goes into what? The statue that Nebuchadnezzar dreamt of, which would have explained what? All the kingdoms and all the dominions and reigns of rulership are the major ones that we have to look for from a prophetic standpoint. Because when you read Revelation and it speaks about this beast, Revelation 17 makes mention of it being a scarlet colored beast. Revelation 6 went on to speak about a horse and the rider, a red horse and the rider wielding power to take peace from the earth. Well, how would you have that power? It's because you have the power of the earth. You have it, and it had been given into your hand by the Most High. Again, the Most High is really the one who has the power, and he just gives it to whomsoever he will. So now, knowing all of this and understanding all of this, who's that beast? And what does that beast speak about or speak to? It speaks about Esau fulfilling the blessing that he was given all the way back in Genesis.
Because you had to understand, all the other nations wasn't given, they're talking about Japhet. Japhet wasn't given the means to rule the earth. They never had the power, because you talk about by his sword.
Ooh.
Who was given the blessing of the sword?
Esau.
And with that sword, because you talk about the sword being furbished. I think that Ezekiel the 27th or the 28th chapter.
The sword is furbished.
The sword is furbished. Who has, consistently, what you say, improved upon the military might throughout history. Who has the greatest military might in the earth today? Isn't it the so-called white man?
And when you talk about it and the maths, there is Daniel having great iron teeth and crush with the residue there.
Stamp the residue with the feet of it.
So I'll show you what that would have been explained or been going into what? The Roman Empire.
Yeah, the great military and the Roman Empire which reviving here today is the great military might. That you see it take place recently. They just went into Venezuela, couple of bombings, boom. Your president ousted, and now we're gonna take your land and govern your land now. All to we benefit. Japhet never
and we are a resource the same way, because what? he was given the fatness of the earth. So any minerals, any resources that he has, by any means which he will get it, because what by
Which is by
thy
the sword, yeah.
shall thou live. We clearly see he's gonna get what he wants, because why? He wants what is rightfully his. Because technically speaking, as pursuant to the blessing, it is rightfully his. But the means in which he has control over it, and the means in which he maintains his control over it, is not righteous.
So that is why scripture talk about it.
Because of unrighteousness.
Yeah, Sirach 10.
Yeah, go ahead.
The book of Sirach. 10 and verse 4, and now jump to 8. Sirach 10 and 4. It says, the power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. Right, so this proves that all of this is by the Lord. The Lord is orchestrating this entire system we dwelling in, this entire rulership that governing the earth right now. Make no mistake, this is not of man's power. Right? The Lord using men as tools to do it, but is the Lord in charge of this. Right? Esau Edom's sword and the military might, that's now of the own scripture talk about that in Daniel the 8th chapter. Get 8 and 25.
Daniel 8 verse 25.
See what 24 saying.
And Daniel 8 and verse 24. And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power.
That's it.
And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice. And again, a blessing goes into prosperity. And practice and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people, which is like Amos 1.
1 and 11.
Who pursued his brother continually with the sword, and did cast off all pity. So, and again, we are reading it in the same Genesis, immediately after he was given his blessing, and he said, what the days of mourning of my father at hand, and then will I what? Seek to slay my brother Jacob. So the minute he was given power, the minute he was given the gift of prosperity in the earth, he sought to do what? Slay his brother Jacob.
Because the man who, because it contained within the blessing as well, what he said, when thou shalt break the yoke, his yoke from off thy neck, then you go have the dominion. So in order for him, he sees it perfectly tying it back to the blessing. In order for him to maintain his blessing, Jude the 5th chapter gives you that account as well. In order for anybody to be above the Israelite man, they have to be against the power. But Esau Edom, he had the perfect plan, and he had the master plan, the evil maniacal plan. He has to get rid of Jacob.
Wow.
The master plan of the illuminated watch, right?
No,
that one.
Psalms 83, we say,
well, yeah.
Wipe the name shall be no more in remembrance, and they will seek from being a nation.
But Apostle Gabardos always talk about it. I think I save it here. Is it here? Master plan of the illuminated watch.
Right.
Oh my! It's a conversation between Ron Patton and Marion Knox. Let me find it. They basically plan to supplant the birthright. This now. Right, there's Ron Patton asking Marion Knox, can you be more specific as to the role the Rothschilds play into all of this? Because we know them is the most powerful family. They go back to the Amalekites, right? But them is the most powerful Edomite family in the earth today, right? She asking them, what is the role in all of this? This whole plan to, where you're going to reveal here to ultimately keep the birthright to the self. Because in the mind, if you cut off Israel from being a nation, it had nobody to stop us.
Right.
So, I say in verse like here. It says, well, most people who are into conspiracy know the Rothschilds are the most powerful family in the world, but you really don't hear about the details relating to how they set themselves up to be the king of the Jews. And to usher in the reservoir, it was the Rothschilds who financially backed the nation of Israel so they could eventually set up a throne for the reservoir. Yes, sir. You know it. Right, is it here? Salakia. Is it here? It says, let me give you some background information. On one level, the Rothschilds secretly called themselves the House of David from the tribe of Judah. Now, Rothschild translated from German to English means red shield. During biblical times, the Edomite fortress was the red rocks of Petra. Esau, the twin brother of Jacob, was described as red and hairy. Right? So the name literally outside who there is. The name literally proves it. And we do this. When I read up, it says when most people who are into this conspiracy know the Rothschilds are the most powerful family in the world. They control the earth right now. Right? And then now, the name literally tied them back to Esau Edom. Prove it because it's prophetic. As I said earlier, in 2nd Ezra 6 chapter, the 9th verse is that Edomite rule. So like yeah, Edomite rule power structure is who Yahushua coming back to meet. Not nobody. It wasn't Japhet. Japhet didn't have no major part to play in prophecy. There's no Canaanite nation. That's how we know these nations ain't gonna elevate past a certain point. Moab plans to elevate past a certain point. Some African nations have a plan to elevate past a certain point. India have a plan to elevate past a certain point. Ultimately, they form the conglomeracy and they take over the world. That is what they want, but that's not gonna because they're seeing that America destruction is at hand, so they want next. But after America, right, the Edomite rule power structure, right, is to be destroyed. Who was prophesied to come up after it? Jacob. Through Yahushua gonna usher in the blessing of Jacob. Right? But the same here. So this information fits perfectly with what survivors have been telling me. That on a deeper level, the Rothschilds are claiming to be the descendants of Esau and thus are really from the tribe, really from the house or the tribe of Esau. What they are trying to do is get the birthright back from the house of Jacob. That is the plan. And the only way to do that is because we see that all throughout history, right, Isaiah 1 and 9 gives you that account. If it hadn't been for the remnant, you could get it, Bahukosha. Isaiah 1 and 9.
Verses
It also have
Isaiah 1 verse 9.
Yeah, then you could go to Romans 11 and 4. Go ahead.
Isaiah 1 and 9, except the Lord of hosts had left unto us a very small remnant, we should have been as Sodom, and we should have been like unto Gomorrah, saying what? Same way the plan would have succeeded in Psalms 83 again, let us cut them off from being a people.
So except for the remnant, that is what Esau Edom want to, that is who them, the big plan is to get rid of the remnant. Because all throughout history, it always had Israelites who went off, wasn't following the Lord's statutes, the commandments, but the Lord never utterly destroyed Israel. Romans 11 and 7. You could get Romans 11 and 4 and then jump down to 7.
Romans 11 and verse 4. What say the answer of power unto him? I have reserved to myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal, and what the image of Baal today is what the image of the beast.
The image of the beast. So 7, the Lord reserve unto him men who would not bow to freaking Baal. You reserve men who would not bow the knee to Esau, either won't bow the knee to no other either. So all throughout all the captivities, it always had men who prevented the Lord from destroying utterly the whole nation of Israel. So what Esau Edom big plan is to get rid of them. To cut them off. Because if you cut them off, well then, Lord, they could achieve the plan. That's what going through them mind. But the Lord say he reserve unto men who will not bow the knee. So when I continue, so that we can jump down to verse 7.
But then Israel had not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election had obtained it, and the rest were blinded.
So the rest were blinded. The rest gonna get destroyed, but the elect no. So when I read here, I also say that, except those days should be shortened, no flesh should be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. So you're seeing here that the Lord have people he intend to save, right? So when they finish here, it says, What they are trying to do is get the birthright back from the house of Jacob, who are the real Jews. However, the book of Obadiah talks about the destruction of the Edomites in the last days. So this is just another interesting point. So, but yeah, that's it. That's the point I wanted to extrapolate. The aim is to get rid of the house of Jacob, hence keeping the birthright to themselves. Because that's what's stopping them here. This is what stopped him in Genesis 27 chapter. That's why the thought immediately came to his mind.
I
had to kill this man. Once he kill that man, he get through. That was his plan. Kill this man. Right?
And ultimately again, through the beast structure, which really details 7 heads, the 10 horns, the 10 vassal states of the Roman Empire reincarnated today as the EU NATO nations. And then what the 7 heads, the 7 times when Esau would have had complete rule and dominion over the whole world, which is what started with the Greeks, the Romans, the French, the Spanish, the British, and Germania Minor, Germania Major. That would have been him fulfilling and living out his blessing, because ultimately when you go to Revelation 20, right, it talks about what verse is that? I'm reading from verses 1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, this being Yahushai, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand, which this great chain in his hand gonna go into the next video we're gonna do, which is what we got next. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent. Remember, make mention of a dragon is a beast, and what in Revelation 12, the war in heaven, it make mention of that great red dragon. And then what, that same red beast, that scarlet colored beast in Revelation 17, which is the devil and Satan, the deceiver, and Satan, the adversary, whose coming is after the working of Satan. 2 Thessalonians from 4 go down. And bound him 1,000 years, which you would have went into what the Renaissance period. First it would the Jakes would have ruled in Rome and in Europe, that I believe 1300 years when you do the maths, or 1300 or so years, the Byzantine Empire. And then what, they would have, the Edomites would have then what, revived, because they would have fulfilled that Malachi 1 and 4, which you're gonna get to, which is what they built the desolate places, and they came back into through the Renaissance, that French Revolution. Go ahead.
Right, because then you don't understand how they're not actually referencing the literal demon Satan or spiritual entity Satan, because you ask these kind of questions. Well, you trying to sit down here and tell me that is what we had to look out for in the end, so all we're taking place in the earth now have no weight or value?
Them 3 wars, who do that?
Was that Satan? Where was he?
No, he definitely was in the midst doing his work.
Yeah, but that I mean, like,
did he physically do anything? No. So who would fulfill these prophecies? Satan didn't do it, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. So Esau had no power basically to do anything in the earth. He couldn't live his blessing during that 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, Europe, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more. So like more than Europe and them Caucasus mountains, that he should deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season. Why must he? Because he had to live his blessing. Isaac had to be a man of his word ultimately.
And ushering his blessing being lived out. In order for us to live out our blessing, he has to go down. Right?
And what? That Revelation 20 was ultimately fulfilled in this Malachi 1 and 4, and we're living in this time. Whereas Edom, Malachi 1 and 4, said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus said Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshua of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, so they will build their empire again. But the Lord is going to throw it down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness. Border goes into territory, the dwelling place of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord had indignation forever. Exodus 17 speaks about the Lord having war with Amalek from generation to generation. And it's important that they would have been labeled as the border of wickedness, because as pursuant to this prophecy here in Job, this would be them living out again their blessing. Job 9 and 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? And again, ultimately, as the brother would say, and I think we could close with this. The second is verse 6 and from verse 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the part and asunder of the time? So the dividing, this time and then the time after it, the border between it. What shall part these times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that follow it? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born. So they're listing the main characters here. Of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followed. So Esau, right now, is living out his final days in rulership, as Revelation 12:12 puts it. For he knoweth that he had but a short time. The Lord should have destroyed them that destroy the earth, right? So what? Esau is currently living out the last few days he has, as the brother puts it here, and as I put the elder apostle Tahar loves to put it, Esau living on borrowed time. Right now, again, this empire that they currently rule, spearheaded by America, that same Bajra that Yahushua is heading towards when he returns. What? How this year makes it the quintessential? Can't remember how you just say the word. Quincentennial?
No. It's quincentennial?
Can't remember, but the word
semi-quintessential.
Semi-quintessential.
Yeah.
Speaking about what? Detailing the number 250. Apostle Tahar brought out the information, and empire usually has not lasted beyond the 250th year mark. So what this very well could be the end of Esau empire in this year, because it was 1776, America became an independent nation. This year would mark 250 years of them being a nation. And being that that is the case, this could very well spell the end of Esau's kingdom. We living in it. This year, next year, Apostle Tahar say he don't see it beyond next year. So what? Lord willing, that is the case.
Everything's speeding up. All the signs at the end of your kingdom it being made manifest. Like that device we have, that gonna ensnare you, because that device we make gonna lead to the destruction of your kingdom. Like it said directly, Revelation 14 chapter and 9 verse, all those who take the mark or worship the beast and his image, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and they shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the Lamb,
the holy
angels, and in the presence of the Lamb. So that device we have, we aim to intend to continue your rule and go past the bounds of the Lord set for you. That's going to be a destruction, that's going to lead to the end and your demise. And we see it speeding up, right? So we don't see beyond 2027. Last year I was saying 2030. I don't see beyond 2027. Because that device could roll out somewhere between this year and next year, right? And I don't see 3 years of that device being in the earth. I don't.
It's speedily wait as the Lord said, behold, I come quickly, because the minute that device roll out, the Lord on his way, he any chariot and he paying on his seatbelt, waiting for you.
You can see. I don't see more than 7 months with that. It could be less than a year, right? So Lord willing, this video was edifying, and that you all were edified. In closing, I say, Kal Halalim La Yahweh, Basham Yahushai, Basham Rakah Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of great mercy, as always. I say, Shalom unto the elect.
Shalom to the elect.
This was a couple of brothers here.
Mayasha Allah.
And Isaiah saying,
Shalom.
Shalom.